Here we go. Steve Lags Unfiltered. I have an amazing episode for you here today. We have a 27-year-old young entrepreneur, a rising star in business. He also happens to be a fitness enthusiast and expert. This is going to be an amazing episode, so let's go.
Prepare to be amazed. And now, introducing your host, Steve Lags.
Welcome to another episode of Steve Lags Unfiltered. I'm super excited today because I got a tremendous guest for you guys. Today, I have a entrepreneur, a fitness enthusiast, and this gentleman is really special, driving really amazing impact for the people through his life and through his entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about not only looking healthy, but more importantly, actually being healthy and feeling healthy and doing that as an entrepreneur. I'd like to welcome my guest here today. It's Chris Giraldo. Chris, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, Steve. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. We just met today and we've been talking for a little bit before the show. And, I'm really impressed about what you've been doing. I've been watching you a little bit and I've been hearing a lot about you. And, I want to talk a little bit about your journey and how you turned being a fitness enthusiast, competing, being an athlete, and brought that through into entrepreneurship and driving impact and helping other people. So, right now you have a couple businesses that you're
Yes.
right. And your supplements. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, the one for Caelum that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So my background, obviously, I grew up being an athlete just like you. We talked about that. And I originally went to college. I had a couple D1 offers after playing for St. Thomas Aquinas. And, I was kind of discouraged from injuries. And then I ended up going to college and I turned down some other offers. I decided to stay close to home at FAU. And after about a year or two, I basically just started I started working at GNC, and that's how I started getting into sales and obviously helping people how to take better decisions in terms of supplements and nutrition.
Why did you start working at GNC? Like, what is that? Was that just a job that you ended up in, or was there intentionality? Was there interest at all?
It was mainly because I got into bodybuilding when I was 14 years old, and that was probably like the closest thing because it was about supplements and nutrition.
Right.
And I guess I was very passionate about that. So I decided to get a job at GNC because it's what I know. I take this product so I can help other people, give them guidance on what these things do.
And probably get a discount.
Yeah, exactly. That too. But yeah, I basically started with GNC and then slowly over time, I was doing GNC. I was also personal training a couple clients, doing online coaching. And during the time I was going to school for exercise science and physiology, and I was failing everything. Like, absolute failing everything. I couldn't, they would try to push information on me, learn it in a week, and I couldn't learn anything. And I ended up just dropping out after my second year because I was working at GNC. I also started a supplement company with one of my buddies, and I was also personal training, and I was making really good money at the time. And I was like, if I'm making this much money at this age, I'm 18 years old because I actually was a grade back. I'm making good money. Why not just focus on this full time, right? And because I also switched my major from exercise science to entrepreneurship, which is the funny thing. And I remember the professor vividly talking about like teaching old school ways about entrepreneurship and business. But obviously my problem was you don't own a business. So how are you telling me how to run a business? You're kind of talking bad about social media because at the time it was like 2017,
So
2016.
hold on. So you have a professor that's teaching you about entrepreneurship, but was never an entrepreneur himself.
Correct.
Right. So you that's great that you picked up that as a young age, because when you're looking to learn from people, you want to learn from people that have done it before, especially being an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur, the spirit behind that and have the risk taking and the emotional part of it and driving impact, everything that involves in that. If you've never done it before, you are not qualified to be able to teach somebody else how to do that, period.
Yeah, because it's like we talked about, entrepreneurship is not linear. It's not like you're just hustling. Sometimes you'll hustle on something and then fail super hard and go 10 steps backwards. And then you feel like you get depressed or you feel alone or whatever it is. And that was one of my biggest things. I was like, this guy hasn't owned a business, he's talking about old school marketing, like completely neglecting social media marketing, because at the time, social media was the new way to sell to the customer. And I just decided to drop out. And after that, I just focused full time on my supplement company with my friend at the time, and then also personal training clients and working at GNC. And then eventually it went from dropping out of school to leaving my last job, which was GNC. That was my first and last job.
Right.
So, and then after that, I had a supplement company for a couple years, King and Queen Sports Nutrition. We were in over 120 retail locations. And after that, I had a falling out with my business partner at the time. We also had a supplement manufacturing. So we manufactured all our products in-house. So we had a higher profit margin. And I learned so much doing business with him. And then we just had a bad falling out. He was going through some stuff and we just parted ways. And that's when I really started focusing on social media, influencing, helping people with their health, individual coaching, whatever it may be. And that's how I ended up coming out with my new brand, Caelum Elements, which is more focused on micronutrients. And it strays away from the traditional fitness brand that a lot of people talk about.
So I pronounced it Caelum before it's Caelum.
Caelum Elements.
Yeah, come on, get me right.
Yeah. So,
all right. So I got a question here. So, all right, when I think about it, so your first go at being an entrepreneur, it didn't work out with your business partner, right? So your business partner did not. So now you're gonna. What's that look like? What's the two questions? Number one, what's the one mistake you learned from that? Okay, hey, I'm not going to do that again the next time around, because you've got to always learn from what doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And then secondly, tell me about what was the talk that you were hearing about? Hey, when you fail, like, in terms of people like looking at and like, whether, hey, told you so, you're not going to do it again. You're going to do it again. Like, you need to get a job or whatever. So first, what was the first lesson that you learned that was really valuable in that first go around?
So I feel like here's the thing. One of the first lessons too is I feel like it's easier to do business when you're both exactly on the same page.
So alignment is important.
Alignment is very important, because if he was my best friend in high school, right? And he's very business minded, very smart man. The only difference is that how we decide to do business is very different.
Right.
I have more of a new school mentality of like the work smarter, not harder. And he was more like work harder, not smarter. And it kind of caused some disagreements at the time, because I was more about let's do things the right way, and he was a little bit more about let's just do things right. And because when you're in entrepreneurship, you're kind of in a hurry. You're essentially trying to just put things out there, just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. And at the time, I was kind of, because I was also reading books, I was also listening to podcasts, listening to people like Andy Frisella. I kind of used them like a mentorship for me at the time. So like, I was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should do this, but we weren't in alignment.
Okay.
And it caused a lot of, headbutting at the time. I was like, I want to do something like this. And he was like, no, I want to do it like this. And then we ended up going nowhere at sometimes.
Right.
And although we did have a lot of traction in terms of retail sales, with the e-commerce, we weren't getting a lot of traction at the time. And that's when I was kind of like, he was focusing more on another business, and we started having a falling out because he was kind of putting this on the back burner. And after that, I was kind of like, okay, I need to be with someone who's exactly aligned like me.
So that's what's so important. So when you're going to partner with somebody in business, make sure that you're completely aligned.
Yeah, values.
It's right. Okay, good. You have the same core values. You understand what the mission and purpose of the business is, and what that vision is, like, hey, 10 years, where we're going with it.
Exactly.
And then it's really even more important if it's a family or friend.
Yeah.
because it's not like, hey, I can not make this work and we just won't ever talk again. But you've really got it's even more complicated. So now, and so that doesn't, well, in a sense, it wasn't the happy ending that you would love to have, right? Didn't end the way you planned on it ending. So were you second guessed by anybody? Did you have to overcome any of that in order to go at it again in another business?
Not really, because I keep a lot of my business to myself.
Okay.
I don't, the thing with a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays is that they have to post to the world, I'm hustling.
Right.
While you sleep, I hustle. While you do this, I hustle. And it's like they're telling everyone what they're doing, and you're giving other people an opportunity to, throw stones at you. But I don't tell anyone what I'm doing.
Right.
Nobody. I literally, maybe the only person who knows what I'm doing is maybe like my mom, and that's it.
Right.
But like everybody else, I don't tell them anything. So they can't hate if they don't know what to hate on.
Yeah,
you know
so
what I mean?
it's interesting because there's like two schools of thought here with entrepreneurs. One is don't tell anybody because if you do, there's always gonna be someone gonna tell you why it can't be done and why it's wrong and why you shouldn't be doing this and the risk and everything. And then there's the other, and that works for a lot. That's working for you, and it works for a lot of people. And there's the other school of thought. Well, I'm just going to keep putting it out into the world because I'm going to manifest it. If I think about it, talk about it, I'm going to do the things I need to do, and that's going to I'm going to bring people in. But you got to be ready to fight off and also battle off all that negativity.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
Both work. For me, I put it out there because I love putting it out there because as soon as someone raises their hand with negative shit, I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right. And thanks for letting me know. Now I know you don't support me, or my risk taking or my success is threatening your being right now. So I know where they're at, and whether they're a family member or a friend, I know I got to either reset the boundaries or I'm going to distance them.
Yeah.
Because I know where that's at. Because I have an inner circle that's really tight, and then there's everything else. But like people in my life will feel it when they get pushed out of that inner circle, and it's not an aggressive thing. It's a very passive thing, but you're going to feel it because all of a sudden you're going to feel the distance from me. And people coming, and they'll come back out because as soon as you start, I bring you back in a little bit and I'll push you right back out.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's great. So then you're all right now. So then and also you're bodybuilding, right? You're through all, is this through this period, you're still bodybuilding?
Yeah.
You're in your 20s now.
Yeah.
Right. And you want to get jacked and big, and you're concerned about how good you look, right?
Yeah. I started bodybuilding. Yeah. When in my late teens, that's when I started competing when I was about 18 years old.
And how long did you do that through?
I did it till I was up until about 21 years old.
Okay.
And then I completely stopped.
Did you completely stop bodybuilding period, or did you stop competing?
I stopped competing.
But you still kept working out?
Yeah, I still kept working out. And at the time, the way I learned a lot of information about like health and like I told you, I was forced to level up mentally because at the time, most of my identity was revolved around the physical. It was revolved around bodybuilding. I was 18 years old and I looked like I was 26. Like I people literally thought that I was on steroids at the time when I was bodybuilding because I was first lifting for football. Right. I played for a high St. Thomas Aquinas high school. Back then, all those guys were jacked, right? So and we're all about playing D1 sports. So at the time, I was getting into bodybuilding. I was competing, naturally. And then I was getting kind of peer pressured by top level bodybuilders. Like, man, if you look like that naturally, imagine if you were, get enhanced and all that stuff. And that kind of peer pressured me to do it around 20 and 21. And that's when I started, taking extra supplements.
Right.
And at the time, when I was 21 years old, just long story short, I ended up having a health scare and I got put in the hospital because it was the first time I ever, took things while eating an unhealthy diet to grow. Because most of the time when I was taking stuff, it was for me to lose weight and to keep my muscle on. After that happened, I was in the hospital for almost 4 or 5 months. Huh. And I had a huge tumor on my face like that grew. I guess it was because like growth factors and in combination with junk food. And after that, my whole identity of fitness.
Are you like panicking? Like, what the fuck's going on with me during this experience?
Yeah, I literally one day grew up with a huge tumor on my face. I literally one day just woke up with a huge tumor on my face. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even open my mouth. I was like, I couldn't open my mouth. I couldn't eat anything. I literally when I went into the hospital, I was 215 lean. I came out of the hospital 139.
Whoa, wow.
And imagine that. And the thing is, I was so depressed. I was like, dude, like, I can't talk about anything fitness anymore because I lost all my strength, all my whatever. And I was just so depressed.
So everything you identified with, like, just disappears in 3 months.
It literally disappeared. And I was like, wow, like, outside of fitness, who am I?
Yeah, right. Because that's how you define yourself at that time. So you had to figure that out.
Yes. And after that, one thing led into another. And I feel
but that's the thing. So you said fitness, right? But it wasn't really fitness. It was appearance, right? Yes.
I feel like it was appearance because it's funny. Whenever I talk about the story, some people are like, yeah, but Chris, like you weren't one. I say like, oh, I was very one-dimensional fitness. And they're like, no, but you weren't. Because you were already an entrepreneur. You were already someone who read books and you were already very in tune at a young age. But at the time, I was obsessive about bodybuilding and fitness. And that is what sparked my journey to begin with in terms of supplements and helping individuals. But yeah, after that, I basically started learning about holistic healing.
All right. So, but very important, because a lot of people we have these low points in life. Everyone has them. Depression, sooner or later, everyone to some level or another is going to experience depression, whether it's just slightly depressed over something, over an event, or like seriously depressed. Like, how do you pull yourself up out of that? Like, is that just a gradual thing? Like, how do you came out of it? How'd you do it? What was the secret?
So it's funny because I actually also posted a video of this on social media, how, I feel like you just fail forward and you have to feel your emotions, because a lot of people they repress their feelings, and they're kind of like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to do this, and this, and I'm going to ignore it. But I would still try to go to the gym. I would still try to, go on the Stairmaster.
Are you going to the same gym where you're like, I'm going where no one knows me because I'm coming 100 pounds less?
I would just put a hoodie on, go in the gym and be like, okay, I wear a cap. Nobody knows me. And I would just
be like, hey.
Yeah, no, some people were saying
Chris,
that.
What happened to you, buddy?
No, it was depressing.
That makes it worse, right?
Yeah, they were like, man, I remember you used to be huge.
Oh,
and I'm like, dude, come on, don't tell me that.
There's like a worst possible thing you could say to somebody, like a guy that works out.
Exactly. And at the time, I was just like, I would go work out, do cardio, or I started going outside more. Instead of going to the gym, I started getting more sunlight. And because obviously we need sunlight. When I was bodybuilding, all my workouts were indoors. I was not getting any sunlight. Started going outside more. It will make me feel better. If I felt emotions, I would cry it out. If I'm going to the gym at night, whatever it is, people say, oh, you got to hold it in. No, I would let it all out. So the next day I'm a clean slate. I'm not holding on to the past or dwelling on my failures or that.
Right.
So then I just started learning new things, how to heal myself, how to do this, how to recover naturally, how to recoup my testosterone. Because when I left the hospital, my testosterone was at 200. And my free testosterone was at 2. So I was just like low T, low everything, no gains, lost everything. And I had to that was the beginning of my journey.
And even that low testosterone affects your emotion.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's crazy is I feel like that also showed me how mindset is everything, because even on paper, as I was low testosterone, I would still push forward. Right. I would still be like, okay, you know what? I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to work on my business. I'm still going to make effort to go to the gym, even if I lost all my strength and everything, even if I can't work out like I normally used to. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work out. I'm going to make whatever the best I can of it, because I feel like mindset is everything. If you focus on the negative, then you're just going to continue in your negative patterns. And I just focus on the positive and I just push forward. And I feel like that's also one of the most important things in entrepreneurship. It teaches you. And that's
a total mental game.
Yeah.
Life is a mental game. Entrepreneurship tests you with it every single day. But you're so right, because everything in life you could look at as the glass is half full or half empty, and it's your choice.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity in every single circumstance. Like, you were in that horrible circumstance, you were able to really discover your other strengths that you had and your other talents that they were there, but you just didn't really discover or leverage them.
Yeah.
Right. Because you were only identifying with this one thing you were obsessed with. And it's great to be obsessed, but you had more there. So you learned that about yourself. Not only that, but you're a great example of someone else who experienced it. Proof that, like, if something like this happens, you can bounce back.
Yeah.
So people can see that happens. You share the story, which is great, so that you can other people can hear this. So there's beauty in these opportunities. Not just, oh my God, I'm such a victim. This is all because of me. But truthfully, you weren't a victim. You put yourself in a situation, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was the biggest thing too, that taught me accountability.
Yeah.
Like, I can't cry about it or get sad about it because I put myself in this position.
That's right.
I was the one who made the decision to, take anabolics. I was the one who made the decision to eat garbage and eat junk food, as opposed to eating healthy. And I was the one who basically went through all this because of my actions, right? And that's something that I learned from dealing with that you need to be accountable for everything that happens to you. Same with business. It's the same thing. Like, if you're upset because you don't have enough sales or enough accounts, it's because you're not picking up the phone and calling people. You're not doing sales. You're not going out there to make a difference. You're just dwelling on the past. Oh, why are we short this month? Why are we not getting this sale? Why are we not whatever it is? When you need to have a mindset of abundance and just constantly push forward. If you stop, then you're just going to be stagnant. And that's when all the pain and all the negativity hits you in your mind, and you start thinking about it and dwelling on it. And something that I also feel like is how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right.
And where bodybuilding helped me was when I used to do cardio, like an hour on the Stairmaster or something.
Oh, you do an hour curious?
I used to do 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
On top of lifting. Now,
well, I only react like that because I do my 10 minutes and I'm like, I feel like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
To work out.
No, I do like 15 minutes now, but back then when I was competing, I used to do like 2 hours.
Me feel better.
Yeah. and it's crazy because something as little as like that, like doing cardio, I used to break it into pieces. Like, okay, you have an hour left. That's 10 minutes, 6 more times. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you have 1 more session left. You need to do what you did 2 more times. And I would break it down like that. And that's something I've been able to apply to my daily life in terms of business, because I would be like, okay, don't worry. You got 1 more year left. You got 2 more years left. And then you'll have this breakthrough, and then you can keep going from there. So I would break things into little pieces and endure whatever it is that I'm going through. If I felt like I was failing or stagnant, I would be like, just keep doing what you're doing. It's working. But just hang on. You have, just like how you have another 10 minutes, another 10 minutes 6 times.
Right.
Okay, you got 3 more months, 4 more times. And I would just endure it like that and take it on piece by piece, because sometimes in business, people try to do too many things at once and they bite off more than they could chew.
Right.
And then they start getting depressed when they don't have the traction that they're looking for. And from there, that's when I started focusing on helping other individuals, healing through my experience. And that's how I started being able to, build a client base of individuals and build a following from sharing the information that I knew.
Right.
And that's actually what helped me once I launched my new business. That's what helped me actually be able to sell effortlessly, because I was providing that value for free all along instead of just selling it.
Right.
Because most people, what they do is they just say, buy my plan or whatever it is. They're looking for money super fast. But when you're purpose driven, it makes it a lot easier to make money.
Right.
And that was one of the biggest things that I learned through that whole experience. I thought it was a curse, but it actually ended up being a blessing for me. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so if you've got purpose of what you're trying to do, and that purpose is meaningful and impactful, and if you go out to serve others first, and your intent's to help people and add value to people's lives, well, they're going to reciprocate that with currency at the end of the day.
Yeah. And
they're going to put a value on you in this world, and you're going to see that build up. But you can't like have the money without being first.
Exactly.
Right. So you got to be the value to them, and then it'll come back to you. And I think that most people go into situations, a couple of things you were just talking about that bring this to mind. They'll quit while they're in the process because, hey, I'm on this treadmill for 10 minutes. I didn't lose any weight, so I'm stopping. Or I did it for 2 days and I didn't get the weight loss I wanted, or the body I wanted, or the feeling I wanted. Instead of like, hey, I'm on a process and it's a journey, and I got to enjoy the journey, and I just can't stop. I can only fail if I quit. So I'm just never going to quit. And sooner, even if I have to make adjustments, right? But also, to your point about business, if your intention is to really truly help people and you're genuine about it, you're going to get the value back. But if you go into it with like, how do I get their money?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not going to work that way.
Yeah. And that's something I noticed a lot on social media too, is people are leveraging lifestyle and material wealth to attract more money. Like people rent stuff to market their business.
Well, yeah,
it's
so that's like we talking about like the difference between just aiming to look healthy versus looking, feeling, and being healthy.
Exactly.
But those people looking to just look successful and look happy versus actually feeling and being successful and happy. And like when we think about success, there's different aspects in life that determine true success and happiness. There's all different areas. There's financial, and there's personal, there's mental health, there's spiritual, there's hobbies and interests, there's family, there's relationships, there's love, all these different things. And every one of us has this unique formula that's our success formula and what our goals are. And there is a difference between actually being it and feeling it and then looking it versus looking it and not actually feeling it and being it.
Yeah.
And I think that, we've been talking about that, and it's the same, no difference with health, because you can like appear that person looks great, but are they really healthy?
Yeah, no. That's something that I learned too. A lot of people.
You learn it the hardest way.
Yeah, you learn it the hardest way because a lot of fitness influencers and people who are selling coaching and everything, they're not healthy at all.
Yeah.
And they're all, they're on TRT, they're taking drugs, and they're not actually healthy, and they're selling diet plans, which is actually a huge liability because now you are doing something that you're not disclosing to your followers. And then you're selling a certain nutrition program for that might work for you while you're on TRT, but it's not going to work for other individuals.
Yeah.
Because they're just money driven. They just want, buy my diet plan.
Right.
Bam.
Yeah. And one diet's it is not a one size fit all diet.
Exactly.
It's not a one size fit all workout routine. And what do you think about this? When I say diet versus your lifestyle, like in the mindset of it?
I think you need to look at it as lifestyle, because after I went through what I went through, I would call that my lifestyle. I eat healthy. Like, I don't eat junk food at all. Like, people think I'm crazy, but I don't.
You never reward yourself? Like, like once in a while have a slice of pizza?
I mean, I probably, in the past 5 years, I probably had like 2 slices of pizza.
Wow.
Like that's because I just think about what I felt like when I was there.
Yeah.
And I
you never think about what you felt like when you had a slice of pizza?
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm healthy and I eat well, but I'll reward myself like with these little pieces, from time to time. And it's impossible not to, especially with kids. I could just
of course. Yeah, because you don't want to balance is everything.
They already think I'm nuts.
Yeah, you don't want to be too extreme.
Yeah, they already think I'm a psycho. Like, I'm so embarrassing. Go to school and like dad's all this healthy food he's making me eat. So I'm like, my wife gives me a little. I'm like, all right, I got to kind of back off. I got to buy them cookies from time to time. Show them I'm real.
Yeah, no, I feel like it definitely I do sometimes, not all the time, but. It's just been.
You don't know, but we have a pizza coming in here.
Oh, really?
And we're going to test you.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding.
Then I guess I'll just break a pizza with you then.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I feel like you learn from your experiences. Right. And like you said, obviously you don't want to be money driven, because when you're money driven, all those different things, you're basically looking past the health of your people, the people who support you and they invest in you. You're just looking for a quick sale.
All right, hold on. Let me just for the record, I'm 10x driven. I want everything in life.
Yeah.
And one of them is money, but I'm not transactional. I understand. Like, I want to become a billionaire.
Oh no, same.
Okay, cool. We'll just make for the record, because like I am driven by money, but I know money is the last thing that follows everything else.
Exactly.
Because if I take care of everything else, the money's going to take care of itself. But at the end of the day, I know that's how I fucking keep score.
Yeah, no,
because if I'm worth $1 billion, then I add $1 billion of value to the world, right? So just so that like the record's straight, man, I'm going to be a billionaire one day.
Yeah, no, I agree, brother,
and you will too if you keep on the path you're going.
Yeah.
So you've been impacting like thousands of people's with your supplement. Like, talk a little bit about the supplement right now. Like, how'd you formulate it? What's the intention of it? And like, what's the purpose of it? And like, give me an example of how it's helped somebody.
So I've read multiple different books of different micronutrients, to see exactly what it does to the body. Obviously having to deal with certain ailments of my own and then other people.
So here you're saying micronutrients versus macronutrients.
Yes.
The macronutrients. All right. I'm okay. Correct me where I go wrong here. Okay. I'm not, hey, I just do this for my like health, but I'm not an expert. So you're talking about protein, fat, and carbohydrates and what your calories are. That's basically my macronutrients, keeping track of that, right? Now, micronutrients.
That's like zinc, magnesium, sodium, potassium, iodine, selenium, cobalt, all the little minerals that people are not aware of or tracking. Those are your micronutrients. And those are actually the primary resource that your body needs in order to grow, to stimulate protein synthesis, to release HGH for your thyroid, to produce T3 and T4. Like, those are all the main factors that our body needs. And the problem with most nutrition influencers today is they focus on macros, right? You want to lose weight, focus on calories in, calories out. But if I were to give someone 2,000 calories a day of just donuts and Pop-Tarts versus 2,000 calories a day of nutrient dense foods that has your zinc, magnesium, iodine, everything that optimizes your thyroid, that optimizes your circadian rhythm, it optimizes your GH. Whereas this diet of cookies and potatoes, or let's say cookies and potato chips, it depletes your body of certain micronutrients. So it's not all about calories. They'll have completely different, physical and mental health at the end of the diet. So I focus more on micronutrients.
Yeah. So when you talk about, I don't want to interrupt you, but when you talk about the, the macronutrients, what's your thought about like all this, like the Quest bars, the cookies, like all the protein cookies and snacks and everything now? And, we're eating a lot of that now to supplement our diet and to keep our macronutrients in place. But what are your thoughts about that? You think that's a healthy part of the diet? Because I'm guilty. I'm eating a lot of that right now.
So
protein shakes, like all the time.
No, and me being someone who used to work at GNC, Quest bars sell like crazy. So, I mean, me personally, I don't think Quest bars are the optimal meal replacement. I mean, it helps some people. Obviously, I'm not, bad mouthing any company, because Quest, they do have some good products.
They got like protein potato chips and stuff.
Yeah, they have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm eating that stuff, like snacking on it.
I don't think I just think more so what's more important is if you're eating it, like obviously to stave off hunger, I think maybe it can serve its purpose and help, but I do think there's better options.
Right.
So, and obviously,
eating real food.
Yeah, obviously like eating real food, whether even if it's like you prep a little piece of like steak and vegetables or something. But I do feel like the most important thing is the micronutrients, because nowadays with fragrances or synthetic body wash or we're basically in an environment full of chemicals. And the issue is that a lot of these chemicals deplete our micronutrient balance. And that's why nowadays testosterone levels are dropping. Yeah. Like nowadays high is considered 850 when back in the days it was like over 1,000. So the levels are dropping off because of all these things, because of our exposure to all these chemicals and ingredients over the course of time.
Maybe that's why guys are softening up these days. We're lowering our testosterone.
That is why. That is really why. That's why they quit. They quit too quick. They do business, they quit. They do fitness, they quit. You know what I mean? So all those little things are very important to keep in mind, especially. But you did ask about how did I formulate this product?
So micronutrients, right?
Yeah, micronutrients. As I told you, I used to work at GNC, and people would come in and buy things individually. They would buy zinc, buy magnesium, buy boron, buy all these things separately. And the thing is that minerals are very cheap. Obviously, you're a businessman. I do business too. We know how the business runs, right? You have to make your profit, and minerals are very cheap. But the problem is, I feel like there's a balance, right? When you're trying to improve provide value, or if you're just trying to make a lot of money, right? And I feel like there needs to be a nice balance, because obviously I'm also in it for money. Otherwise, I would not start this. But one of the biggest things for me was being able to provide a product for people where they don't have to buy everything individually at marked up prices, and they could buy it at the cost of one with an optimal dose, as opposed to buying everything separately, spending $200-300 on all this stuff, and then it's low dose.
Right.
So I decided, I'm like, you know what? There's a market for this because nothing like this exists. So I rather make a product that everyone can benefit from, even those people like low income families. They buy one product and it covers all their needs.
Right.
So it's basically like what a multivitamin should be. But the problem is most multivitamins, they're also very underdosed and they're overpriced. So that's pretty much how I formulated it. I was kind of like, okay, people need this much zinc, people need this much magnesium, people need this much iodine. And essentially I just decided to formulate it all into one product. And people can adjust it to their needs. I mean, a daily serving is 5 capsules. You can take 10 capsules a day, or you can take 5 only. So you can adjust it to your needs on how you want to take it.
That's great.
But yeah, it covers everything. And so far I've had nothing but great reviews. Yeah. And people have been telling me that their hair is finally growing again. They've told me, their thyroid and their hormones are their sex drive is better, their thyroid's better. And, it's very fulfilling to me, because a lot of products, people take it and a lot of it's placebo. They don't get drastic benefits right away. And with this, everyone who started taking it immediately, both men and women, they were like, wow, I feel great. Wow, my hormones feel better. I feel more energetic. I have more clarity and all these other things. And then from there, I was just kind of like, I need to restock and make more because I sold it way too fast.
Right.
So
that's a great problem.
Yeah, it is a great problem. I wasn't expecting that. It was like reverse psychology. You know, how it ended up selling out. I was kind of like, okay, guys, I'm launching this. Okay, no, wait, there's a delay. I'm doing it next month. No, there's a delay next month. And it caused like FOMO, but I ended up launching it. People bought it. Some people bought way more. And it's crazy because some people you don't even know support you. Like people support you more than your own family.
Right.
And yeah, it just, people bought 4 or 5 bottles at a time and they're like, man, I love this. And I'm just like, wow, I need to make more.
That's great.
So
yeah. And that's, what I like is that you talked about, you make it affordable for all like different income levels, because this supplement game could be ridiculous.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. And I think that if you haven't taken care of yourself and done the right things to be healthy, to be truly healthy as an adult, you can't imagine what it feels like when you start feeling the difference.
Yeah.
And when you're taking something that's going to positively impact your health, because what it does for your lifestyle, and not only if you're married and you're in a relationship, when you start feeling better about yourself, that relationships becomes better because you're feeling more confident.
Yeah.
You get your sex drive back, but you got more energy. You're thinking clearer. You know, when you take something like this, it's just an amazing impact that it can make for somebody. So if somebody wants to buy this product, where do they find you?
They can find it on www.caelumelements.com. Spelled CAELUM elements.com. Right now we're out of stock. We sold thousands of bottles and they flew like crazy. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting it. I was actually underprepared because I was working on the other business, and then this just took off and I was like, oh my God. So
great problem.
It's a good problem to have. So it's like, but yeah, right now we're working on a major restock. Pallets, we're going to do tens of thousands of bottles. And if people want to find it, if they want to get on the wait list, they can go on the website, sign up for whichever product, whether it's a man or woman. They can sign up for Royalty or Divine.
Yep.
And yeah, man, we're gonna restock around the end of December or the first week of January.
All right,
and we're gonna have tens of thousands of bottles because I don't want to have that problem again. So
yeah, that's great. So you do want to have that problem again.
Yeah.
Just now you're gonna have like a 10x problem. So yeah, so what I would do is check his website, either get on a waiting list or just keep checking back periodically, week to week, to see when the stock comes in. Because I know my wife and I started taking this, and so far amazing results. So I'm looking forward to you having more success with that. So like, what's next now? You've got you're doing well with this business. You have a second business. What do you see here in the future? So
what I plan on doing is actually using this business to actually scale my other business also, because this business is mainly, it's in the supplement industry, but I do also plan on coming out with things like silica, like things to improve the nutrient profile of your foods, such as coming out with salts, like a wide variety of salts with high in trace minerals, potassium, salt, all these things that I talk about, like the importance of micronutrients, because
salt's important, right?
Yeah, salt is very important.
Like the right amount of salt.
Yes. The right amount. Because the thing is people think like, oh, I need to cut back on salt because of high blood pressure, but blood pressure is a result of missing cofactors like enough potassium or enough magnesium or, enough iodine, which all actually help regulate blood pressure. And sodium is what allows your body to retain more water, right? Which is how you stay more hydrated. That's how your muscles remain full.
Yeah, you could drink a lot of water and be deficient in sodium and be dehydrated.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot. I feel like
I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
So now I take electrolytes with salt.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the best pre-workout, in my opinion, just drinking salt water.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of people unfortunately don't know. They don't know about sodium intake or anything like that. So the focus of this business is to focus on things like salt, micronutrients, minerals, whatever, silica, things like that. I'm also going to come out with natural hair products natural.
Can you get rid of grays? Because I'm starting to get a lot of those.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but gray hair is actually a result. I used to have a lot of gray hair, surprisingly.
I'll get the hell out of here.
No, I swear to God, on the back of my head, I had a lot of gray
You're in
hair.
your 20s. How could you have gray hair?
Copper deficiency.
Oh.
So gray hair.
I'm going to be drinking copper.
So I didn't know this, but gray hair is actually it's a stimuli. It's a response of copper deficiency.
Really?
Yeah. So if you literally,
You heard it here first. How do you get copper?
So copper is found in things like beef liver. It's also found in certain nuts. It's found in a wide variety of foods.
Some certain nuts.
Yes,
Do you
some
happen
nuts.
to know offhand what they are, or
They have, like, you can find copper in things like walnuts, cashews.
shit? You're gonna see me eating a lot of that.
Yeah. So the only thing is, sometimes you can have a copper, there's such thing as copper toxicity, where you have too much copper, and some people actually have this, but yeah, copper deficiency is a result. Gray hair is a result of copper deficiency. And that's something that I figured out too, because I'm like 24, 23 years old. I'm like, why do I have gray hair? And I'm figuring this out. And then I start, reading books, researching, and that's actually a result of copper deficiency, and it's actually reversible. So things like iodine, copper, silica, and all these other little micronutrients actually help with the pigmentation of your hair. So it's definitely something that you could definitely fix.
Yeah, and see, another thing that I'm noticing with you, I read a lot of books.
Yeah, me too.
And I can tell you,
fan of like all those books.
Yeah. So, thanks, and I appreciate that. But look at you, like how much there's there's an abundance of knowledge in this world. It's just there for you to go get if you're curious.
Exactly.
And you have to be intellectually curious to go learn or to go consider something. And I think that, so many people don't do that. And, you're living proof, like how you're teaching yourself so much and gaining facts and information and, okay, what can I do with it? And actually make it work for other people.
Yeah, no, I think curiosity is very important. It has a lot to do with, being in tune with your inner child.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, because as a child, you're curious by nature.
And adults try to kill the curiosity in children.
Yeah, no.
Why are you asking so many questions? Can you stop asking me questions? And it's the worst thing we could do as adults.
Yeah. And that's what makes you learn.
Right.
The curiosity, like I question science too. I'm like, why? Like science it's evolving. Mm-hmm. And many times you see like a study and you're kind of like, okay, this is the study, bam, that's it. But if you're curious about it, you're like, okay, why though? Like, why do they say that?
Sure. And read between the lines. Like
exactly.
Go see the data that backs up the study.
Yeah.
And flawed.
Yeah. Or if there's one study that is basically monopolizing all the information, you have to be very open-minded when it comes to that. And that's how you learn.
And who paid for the study?
Exactly. No, I agree, man. And because a lot of studies, they pay for it. They paid for, the American Heart Association was paid by the canola oil company to say that coconut oil is bad for your heart or saturated fats are bad for you. Right. But yeah, I think the most important thing is having curiosity, being able to question things, questioning your own beliefs. Why do you believe that? Right. And, unlearning and relearning, and constantly unlearning and relearning. And you could even apply that to business as well. You might think business works one way, and next thing you know, you come across somebody and you're like, whoa, this guy does it better than me. Yeah. I got to do it like how he does it. And that's one of the biggest assets, like being able to be like humble yourself and then unlearn, relearn until you just get to where you're trying to go to. Yeah. In business, there's always another level. Whenever you think you've arrived. Yeah. And if you don't know it, you're just in the wrong room. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cause you should never be the smartest person in the room. Never. Well, yeah. And maybe even more importantly is not be the person with the highest belief in the room. Yeah. Because your intelligence won't be enough. It'll be how high do you believe that you can achieve? Because the most successful people have this crazy belief in what they can do. And that allows them to take the risks and put the effort into actually accomplishing what they accomplish. But when people don't believe that they can accomplish it, they're far less likely to put the effort or take the risks because they don't think it's possible. Yeah. So I noticed the most successful people, their belief level is just off the roof. Like it's crazy. And what's crazy too is it's funny you're talking about that. Literally 2 days ago, I came across a study that that basic, and I could say from personal experience that your belief actually alters your hormones. So individuals who are very confident in themselves and they have a strong belief system, they tend to have higher testosterone levels than individuals who are more fearful and submissive of certain things.
Right.
So, I mean, that makes sense. A lot of the individuals, it's like a upward snowball effect. They have strong belief in themselves and their capabilities, and then it just continues snowballing from there. And then that's why you see certain entrepreneurs, they come out with one thing and then they come out with another thing, and then they get better and better and better being around other like-minded individuals. Because you're around people like that, it just gets better.
Yeah,
so
that's right. And and wherever you are, you can build your belief, which is really confidence at the end of the day, and then protect your environment, what you're letting hitting you. Because if your subconscious has to fight off all this bullshit, negative stuff that's going to want to teach you to believe less. Yeah, your conscious mind's going to start to work to make that right, and your subconscious mind correct. So you got to protect your world, your environment, and you just got to build on wins and just keep building on wins. And, and don't listen to that inner voice that's telling you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
And we all deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of which voice wins the most.
That's right.
Because I've had many times in my life where I've doubted myself and I questioned, my own capability. 2 years ago, as I was working on my other business, what I was doing is I was reinvesting all my profits. So something I learned in the book, Richest Man in Babylon, obviously, reinvest 10%.
It's up there.
Yeah. Investing 10% of your money.
Yeah.
I was doing like 50%.
Okay.
Right. Because obviously I'm young. Like I said, I want to make money too. By the time I'm 30, I want to have a certain amount of money. I was investing a lot of my money and also trading with it and multiplying my money in the markets. Now, unfortunately, one of my wallets in crypto got hacked and I lost $120,000. And then after that, I had a belief, I'm like, whatever, I'll make it back. I made it back over the course of 3 months from hard work. I made $350,000 and I lost all that from gambling in the market, from completely throwing away all my principles and actually getting a blown up ego, being like, oh, I made all this money in a short amount of time. I can do it big. I can make this much.
Right.
And I threw all my principles and all my strategies away. And I lost almost literally $450,000 in 2021. And that financially humbled me like crazy. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I just lost all this liquid cash. Like, what am I going to do? And from there, I was just kind of like, okay, I need to get smarter. I realized things about myself. I'm like, wow, you're actually greedy. Wow, you're impatient. Wow, you're trying to do this. I'm like, I never knew that about myself. And that's when I started learning. I'm like, dude, I need to fix this about myself.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, how you perform in business or whatever, it's your business is a reflection of you, how your business operates. And yeah, I basically learned like, I need to work on this. I need to work on that. And I'm talking all this shit on social media. Like I'm like this, when in reality, I'm not like that. And that really humbled me. Yeah. And I just basically from 2021 and 2022, I had to hustle, make money back, make more phone calls to make up for all the money that I lost because I was reinvesting my profits.
Right.
And then all of it disappeared.
Yeah.
So,
so like learning is expensive, whether you do it the hard way by making mistakes and learning from it or finding someone that'll teach you, and whether you have to invest to get their time and attention, there's always somebody that can teach one of us how to do something that they've done successful so that we don't make the same mistakes, but one way or another, we're going to pay for it.
Exactly.
It's just, that's life, man.
And it's crazy how that is. Most of the time, your biggest curses and the biggest setbacks, they're what's needed.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I went through that and I was like, okay, I got that out of my system. Right. And after that, it's just been up from there. I've just been working on business and doing all those other things.
Yeah. And for me, it's about finding mentors that can teach me what I need to learn.
Yeah.
So what's the gap between where I am and from where I want to be in different aspects of my life, whether it's health-wise or it's business or family, you name it, communication, leadership, and who can teach me what I need to learn. Because I've too many times, trial and error. And then, I think I got it. And then I get overconfident and then bam.
Yeah.
Life hits me in the face and I'm like, that was expensive.
Yeah. And that's something I learned the hard way. And
we all do.
And I have been, I do also look into like, mentors, like, even if it's not, I don't know any personal mentors.
And you don't need to.
Yeah. Like I use it, like the book Mastery said something. It made a comment that
Greene.
Yeah, by Robert Greene. It made a comment about how you can utilize mentors through the forms of books.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I've been doing, because a lot of people that have portrayed to be mentors to me ended up just trying to sell me something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just constantly teaching myself, because after, you know, I always question everything. I even question myself, which is a good and bad thing.
Right.
But
you could start off them as an author, and you could attract them into your life. And I've been able to do that with
oh, really?
3 of them that are up there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what author?
Yeah, you could bring them into, if you put out the right stuff in the world, and that's why you want to be transparent and you credit what you're learning from them, you can bring them into your life. And you'd be surprised.
Because a lot of those authors changed my life completely.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people can benefit from, reading books too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because most people don't like to read books.
Yeah. And if you don't like reading, then listen to the audiobook. And you have a hard time listening to an audiobook, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you. How in terms of like business, what would you say, what would you say is something that you feel the need to have a mentor for in business,
right,
that's been able to help you scale to the next level?
Well, so my first mentor in business was my dad, because my dad started this business and I started working with him. And then I learned everything that my dad knew. And then I ended up buying the business from my dad, and he exited the business. And then it was, I learned a little bit about the industry from a mentor I had in the industry. Then once I learned everything from him, then I was kind of on my own in no man's land for a little bit and making a lot of mistakes. And no one really taught me the fundamentals of how to build a scalable business.
Yeah.
How do you set this up where it's scalable? It was really like, it wasn't a business. It was, I owned a job, but I had a business, but I owned a job, and it was very dependent on me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't duplicating myself. I wasn't a great leader. I wasn't duplicating leadership. I didn't have systems and processes. I didn't have a strong culture. I didn't have accountability and discipline in my organization. I wasn't developing problem solvers. I was the problem solver. So all these things were in place in my business, and it's broken. And it's not valuable for the business or the people in the business, and it's not empowering people in the business. And I needed someone to teach me how to do that. And what I wanted, someone that teach me how to do that, but also brought people along for the ride, and the people that were with you also won. And how do you align that and make sure that when the business wins, they're winning? And so for me, I went on a 2-3 year search, and I swear my wife and I had this conversation over and over again. This is a unicorn. I don't know where the hell I'm going to find this person. This person doesn't even exist. And sure enough, like I find Brandon Dawson one night at dinner with him in his apartment. And I walked out, I called my wife up, I found a guy. And then that was December 2019. And since then the rest is history. You know, now like business partners, running his leadership program after I learned everything in his leadership program, helping run his leadership program for one of my very best friends, then that led to me bringing other mentors into my life as well. So yeah, that's what I needed.
Yeah, no, because I would say, like you said, owning the job part.
Yeah.
That's how my other business has been, how my other business has been sort of structured for a long period of time, especially after splitting with my last business partner. Mm-hmm. Because obviously you have this business that you build with someone, and you have a set of procedures, and then you go alone right after. And that's been one of the biggest things. You know, I'm balancing my time between this business that is more of a priority to me, but then also, and this business is kind of like owning a job. And yeah, I haven't really had any mentors in my life, and I don't really know how to find them. So I basically just read books. Yeah. And most of my lessons I learned from trial and error, luckily at a very early age, because some people have to learn the stuff that I learned in like 30s and 40s. But I mean, what you said sounds really great. Yeah. So you got to network too. Yeah. You won't be able, you only go so far through the books, because you got to develop relationships with people, because you're going to learn from a book content, but when you go to apply that content,
there's going to be, it's very dynamic, and you're going to run into obstacles that the book's not talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And also some things are going to become natural to you, and some things are just not going to come natural to you. And it's going to be very hard to implement and execute because we're humans. We all have these different abilities, and it varies. And when you don't have and you don't have relationships with people where you can lean into and talk to. And also the single most important reason mentors in a relationship are important, it's the mindset.
Yeah.
Because you always got to be reaching up to people that have done more, believe more, achieve more, are very successful, and are very positive, because you're going to get influenced by them, and that's going to bring you up and bring your belief up. And they're going to pull you up as long as you're learning from them and not trying to pull them down.
Yeah. And like they say, your network is your net worth.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, it really is. And not only that, that's where your friends, now this is where all my friends that I make are in like this from that.
Yeah.
And now I have, like all these entrepreneur friends that are amazing people driving impact and going through similar things. And we're all on this journey together. And yeah, it's just, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And this age is perfect for that too. I mean, especially with social media.
Yeah. So, right. But it's always like, hey, are you credible? And you've been alluding to it the whole time. Like, these social media influencers, how to do this, how to do that, but they've never really done anything because they're renting a Lambo for the video and everything to be something they're not. But like actually getting to know them, and like, what have they done? And like, will they be transparent about their success?
Exactly.
Will they tell you, hey, over the last 4 years, I brought my business from $25 million to $50 million in revenue. This is what I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. I see that. And this is how I've worked myself out of the business. This is what I used to do, and this is what I do now. And this is how it's affected my quality of life. So when you talk to somebody that's actually done it, they'll sound like me. When you talk to someone who hasn't done it, they're going to be a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
And a lot of theory.
Yeah.
But you got to make those relationships for sure.
Yeah. No, I think, that's one of the biggest things. And that's part of the reason also why I'm also I try to diverse myself into multiple industries, because you also do, I have been able to establish really good networks and connections with people with KPIs in various industries, whether it be bodybuilding, fitness, the firearms industry, people in the holistic health communities and stuff like that. So I feel like it is one of the biggest things. That's been sort of my mentorship, like people in various industries, but like having one individual who has been able to actually be like, I've done this, this, and this, and I can help you out with this. That's been one of the only things that it's been a struggle for me, because I always come across individuals who try to sell me something.
Right.
I've had people try to act as a mentor in bodybuilding,
right,
but they just want to sell me something and use my name for their credibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it is very difficult to find somebody who's very.
Well, yeah. So I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars with my mentor.
Yeah.
In his programs, and because he has programs. But it's made me millions.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you find the right one, you're not going to like ride their back. You're not going to get on their back and get everything for free for them, because there's going to be times where, okay, well, hey, I've got this opportunity. You want to learn this? I've got a program for it.
Exactly.
Invest in that program, because they're also going to be like, well, if you're not going to invest in yourself, then why would I invest in you? Like, they're going to look at when you find the right person, someone's always going to sell you something at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's an invest. All right. Am I spending money, or am I making an investment? It's like if a professor tells you like, hey, you come take the class at our university. This is perfect for what you're trying to learn. Sign up. It's $3,000. All right. You're going to go and make an investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But at the end of the day, you're going to like, for me, my personal development, I've invested over $1.5 million in my life. And I see people who struggle with doing LinkedIn learning for $20 a month or something.
Oh, wow.
They don't want to make that investment.
Yeah.
Like the $20 isn't the problem you have in life. The problem is that you don't have a $20,000 problem.
Exactly.
You don't want a $20 problem. But if you don't invest in $20 in yourself, I certainly ain't going to invest a couple thousand in them. So it's about being able to find the right. You have to invest, right? Not just you, but we all need to invest. It's where are we going to do it? There's got to be something. The books are definitely awesome, but like to play big, it's like, where am I investing big to get big returns on this? And then you just got to find those programs or those mentors that you feel confident you could trust. and you don't feel like they're going to take advantage of you, and they really like genuinely have your interest, and they want to see you win, and they know at the end of the day that your success is tied to their success.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like feeling is also one of the biggest things too, because you could feel it from someone.
Yeah.
They're like, they actually genuinely, like we talked about earlier, they genuinely care about.
And that's you get that in person. You can feel the energy, right?
Yeah.
But you could see if they're authentic or not.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest things.
Right away. First thing I walk in here, they're trying to sell me something. They didn't even curious to find out what I'm trying to solve.
Exactly.
Right.
That's been my problem,
right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So you just keep looking and keep looking and keep looking, and then you find that person. You're like, oh, okay, now let me dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
Hey, man, today was awesome. I appreciate you coming on today. Like, you're an awesome young man. Like, you're twice my age. I'm almost twice your age. You make me feel like an old guy. And
no, man, you're so young. Age is in here.
That's true.
Just a number.
So I'm going to be trying that copper out. I'm going to have copper supplements up the ass like over the next couple of days and see if they're gray hair. And I'm going to let you know if it works.
Yeah, man. And like I said,
you better put some, is there copper in here?
there's some copper in here.
Well, I'm going to double up.
Yeah. If you double up, you'll get about like 5 milligrams of copper and enough zinc. So it actually help with, your hair pigmentation. And it also helps skin pigmentation too. So if, let's say, you're going out in the sun, some people who get sunburned very easily, that's because of copper deficiency, which regulates melanin in your skin.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that's definitely
Does copper tone suntan lotion have anything to do with copper or no?
Maybe.
We got
to look that up. Maybe there's copper in the serum. I don't know.
So where do people find you on social? We talked about your website, social media, Instagram.
So my social media is Chris_Giraldo, Giraldo. I'm a very polarizing individual. I like to challenge people's beliefs. I post a lot of information regarding various subjects.
Oh, great. Then you probably get a lot of engagement on your account.
I do. For the amount of followers I have, I get way more engagement than I should. So,
yeah, look, if you're trying to change the world, there are people going to be uncomfortable with it because you're going to challenge ideas. You're going to challenge things that people accept, and that's the way it's supposed to be, okay?
Yeah.
So you keep doing that.
I definitely will, man. I really appreciate you having me on.
Hey, man, awesome.
It's good speaking with you.
That's all for today's Steve Lags Unfiltered journey. Keep soaring, leading, and conquering with us. Remember, it's not just about listening. It's about learning and taking action. If today ignited your drive, join us next time for more unfiltered wisdom. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review to fuel your success journey. Also, be sure to listen to us on your favorite podcast channel or outlet. Stay tuned, stay unfiltered, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Boom.